Josh, this one exactly like we said. I said, if it hits the ground, he ain't going to get up, and it's going to be over because there's just a huge wrestling difference. And it was proven.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as soon as Jon came out pressing hard, and you could see that he was walking him down, it told you everything, because Gon's in that position where, look, he's elusive on the feet. He moves very well, all of that good stuff. But just the pressure from Jon told you, I know how to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit there and lay back and let you move around me and decide where these engagements are going to take place. I'm going to create the engagements. I'm going to create what's going to happen here, and you're going to have to respond, and you better respond the right way. And look, it is what it is. It's tough when you're facing a guy that can fight at any range and fight well and is smart in their planning, smart in their attacks, and executes, what they're supposed to do. That's why, there's no doubt he puts himself in that position of, and we've always said he's the greatest fighter of all time. Is he the greatest of all time? Well, you can take a look at everything that goes along with that. But the dude can fight, man. He is so good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever doubted his abilities. I think his outside stuff has gotten in the way,
a little bit.
It interfered with his likability, and people will hold that against him. And
he's got that Jekyll and Hyde personality, though, because there's times he can be so endearing and so
absolutely.
He's kind to people and does things, and then there's that time he pulls out he's the perfect, podcast Dave guy. Mm-hmm. He likes the wrestling heel, man. He likes being the dude who's just a smart ass.
But he can fight. Podcast Dave can't fight.
I'm not comparing Jon and Podcast Dave in the fighting realm.
No.
I'm talking about the guys that like to push buttons and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Jon, there's so many things that I guess I would like to do, like a really big deep dive on considering him the GOAT. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, like, oh, you're just... It doesn't matter what they're going to say. I don't even care what they say anymore. It just, even if it wasn't Jon, let's just say it was Dan Henderson, or say it was Randy Couture, or say it was somebody like that. Okay. I would still feel the same way. And you and I have had these conversations.
Yeah.
Is that, yes, I can say he's the GOAT, but I look at guys in the 170 pound, 155, 145, 135. DJ isn't like one of there wasn't a talent level. He falls kind of under the same as Anderson Silva, 205, and even moving up to heavyweight. There's a lack of options in top quality of fighters. Now everyone's like, well, Jon Jones fought Shogun Rua. I said, yeah, he fought good guys, but they were also kind of I wouldn't say they're towards the end, but they definitely weren't in their prime. Shogun had a lot of miles on him before he even got to the UFC. That's true. And I'm gonna be very honest about this. They came over from Pride, and it said in our contracts when we fought there, we do not test for steroids. It said that
in Pride.
Yeah,
Pride
in Pride
said that. Yes.
Yes, in Pride. And you saw the drop off in the abilities of the Pride fighters right when they came. Not all. Not all.
It wasn't. Like,
I don't think Quentin Jackson ever took. I don't think he ever did. You look at Quentin. I don't think he ever needed to. The guy was fucking just beasting everywhere. It didn't matter. Yeah, I don't think Quentin ever did. But there's, some fighters. You just saw them drop off, and I look at the level of competition. Those guys at 185. Not all, like they're not as well rounded as the ones at 170, 155, 145, 135.
There you go, going back to it.
I have
going
to.
back.
I have to.
Okay, go ahead.
I have to go. I have to go to the fact that, like, look, Shogun Rua, he wasn't a great grappler. He had great kickboxing, good takedown defense, and good ground and pound. A lot of that was from Pride, though. When he got to the UFC, it was more of a stand-up fighter, and kind of, he had a good short stint of a run. Dave, pull up Jon Jones's record, please.
Where do you want to start?
Where?
Yeah. I get it. Calm down, guys. Calm down.
Well, no, seriously. You can start and say, You can do it. Start with his UFC record
Mm-hmm.
if you want, but take a look at the names that are on that list. This is where when you're sitting there saying, and this is DJ. I think DJ's skill set is one of the greatest skill sets I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
On an MMA fighter, unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But the level of competition that he was able to compete against, never met his status, to a point. Dominic Cruz, Dominic beat him. He had to go up and wait for that and stuff. And there's a couple in there, but overall you look and you go, all right, he's got the win against Henry Cejudo, and he looked fantastic in doing it. The body shots were just unbelievable. But he just didn't have that, basically a plethora of, look at the names. Okay, so if we take a look at the names, his second fight in there was Stephan Bonner, right? And this is when people didn't really know who Jon was. And it was not only the way he beat Stephan Bonner, it was the things he did in that fight. If you remember that spinning elbow attack that basically hit, Stephan tried to step into it, which made him hit kind of towards the back of it, but just flopped him to the ground and just manhandled him. And we know that, Stephan wasn't the greatest fighter in the world, but goddamn, he could fight, and he was tough as hell.
He was tough.
Then you look, the whole Matt Hamill thing, and, that's the one mark on his record, and we've kind of gone over it, but Matt Hamill was known for his wrestling.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that Matt Hamill could wrestle. And how did Jon, hurt him? He hurt him by picking him up and dropping him to the mat and dislocating his shoulder. He out-wrestled Matt Hamill. Brandon Vera at the time was this, guy that everyone thought he was talking about winning 2 divisions and all this stuff, but we did know that Brandon, in the striking, his kicks and everything, man, he could fight, man. He could hurt people. And he went on and, had a great career in other places. Vladimir Matyushenko, how good of a wrestler was the janitor?
Fantastic.
Okay, we're talking world class at one time. Okay? I mean, manhandled him like it was nothing, right? Ryan Bader's had an unbelievable career, but Jon walked through him. Then he gets the title shot. And I think he was 23 years old when he got that, 23, 24.
Yeah.
Josh, think about when you were 23, 24.
Yeah.
And just your mindset and things.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is part of what Jon's problem's been, because these things came when he was very young, and it's hard to handle the things that are coming with being the champion and stuff if you're not, super mature. But, he then beats Quentin. And the one thing I love about Quentin is Quentin's always honest about it. So he does not like Jon, but says he's dirty, but says, I was never so prepared for a fight in my life. I knew I was going to beat him. And he goes, he just dominated me. Lyoto Machida, that fight. Lyoto won that first round. We talked about that before. Lyoto was actually doing well. Jon changes it, takes over, and says, nope, and puts him out with the choke. Rashad Evans is a great fighter. All these guys. I mean, it's a who's who. If you're taking a look and saying champions, he's got a ton of champions that he beat. And yes, Shogun Rua was not the same fighter, in the UFC that he was in Pride. He was not as exciting. He just wasn't the same, didn't have the same capabilities. But he was the champion when Jon beat him.
Yeah.
No,
I get it.
You can't take anything away.
I'm not.
Okay, and let's talk about grappling ability. How good of a grappler is Jon Jones? You're going to tell me that there's any lightweight that grapples better? You're going to tell me if there's any welterweight? Because there's a guy that you know really well in Daniel Cormier. He's a pretty goddamn good grappler.
Good wrestler.
Okay? Good wrestler. Jon manhandled him.
100% agree. Okay.